We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please chant the wonderful Dharma will to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, tùy thứ pháp hội cấm nhất thiết chúng sanh. Tình duyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liễu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sadanto Suchedo Ye Alahudi Samyao Sanputo Se. Namo Tarakta Toya Daya Alahade Tamyo Dambo Da Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma, 100,000 million aeons, is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it, about to fathom the thus come one true and actual principles. Wu sheng 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 wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zhao yu, wo jin jian wen de shou qi, yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. Buddhas and Bodhisattva, Great Master Huineng, Great Master YongHua, all monks and nuns and all good advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、六祖、师父上人、各位主持人、各位善知识、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa lục tổ Hòa thượng Liên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức ca Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 1st of the January 2022. It is New Year's Day here in the U.S. Thank you all for coming. Happy New Year to all of you. We're here to continue discussing the 6th Patriarch Sutra. We're currently on chapter 1, slide 311. Okay. Just a reminder, there's so many of you keeping up with these lectures every night. That's incredible. And even like on the 1st of the year, come here and learn the Dharma. It's very, very special indeed. Thank you all for coming. So the 6th Patriarch, the 5th Patriarch says, I've been teaching you for a long time. He called up his disciples. It's all of you gather. I've been teaching you for a long time. And now I'd like you to write something to show me what you understood. What are your insights here after all this time of cultivation? And hurry off. Do not procrastinate. Okay. It says, when you write this verse here, don't procrastinate, okay? Now, it's interesting, he says, he told them not procrastinate. I would not have said that. I would have said, I would have dropped this completely. Why is that? Because some people would do better when they procrastinate. Some people procrastinate by nature. They can't function very well until they wait until the last minute. Okay, many people, many students I know are like that. They procrastinate until the end is near, the deadline is near before they would submit the application for admission or whatever. Okay, and same thing, work's the same thing. A lot of people don't really perform well until until the last minute. Okay, so but this is Chinese. In U.S. it's like that. When Chinese, they said, you should not be lax. You should get going right away. Don't wait. Okay, so it's a different culture, you will. Okay. Furthermore, he says that do not use the thinking mind and your calculating mind. Okay, don't do that, because when you this is very typical of the Chan teaching. What he's asking for is something that does not depend on your thinking mind or the calculating mind of these people. Why is that? Because thinking mind and calculating mind are not in sync with your mind of wisdom. So he says, you want to do it, don't think, don't scheme, don't calculate. Okay? Scheming, calculating is for worldly people. I'm asking you to do something that's transcendental, that reveals your Buddha nature, that the Buddha nature, your wisdom, cannot come forth if you keep on thinking and scheming and calculating. Is that clear? Okay? And if you do that, okay, then your nature will come to the fore. Because what happened is that this is what the Chinese teachers and the Indian teachers and Master Shen has been telling us, that your wisdom, your mind of wisdom cannot come to the fore until your thinking mind stops. Okay? And when the thinking mind stops, you were able to see your Buddha nature at the very moment that moment of speaking, yin xia here. Actually, you could explain it. Yin is words, xia is coming out. Okay, so you could explain this as the moment of speaking, as is translated here, or you could explain it as at the moment of writing down your thoughts, your verses that I asked for. Okay, this is extremely Buddhist. Okay, so there's a very moment when before your thinking mind kicks in, that very moment right there, and you say something, or you express, your Buddha nature expresses itself. Okay, that's at the very moment right there when you speak or when you write it down. Okay, any questions about that? This is extremely precise instruction. And of course, you don't know what I'm talking about. Do you? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Those you know should not raise your hands. Those you don't know, raise your hands. One person doesn't know. The rest of you are all enlightened. Excellent. Impressive. Okay. You see, so it's not meant for you to understand. Okay? It's meant for you, see, it's meant for you to verify after you get there. You try to understand, you will not get there. But you just have to know about this. As it says that when the moment that you see Buddha nature, then you understand what this is referring to. And you can't really describe it. You can't really justify it. You can't really explain it at all. You have to experience it. then you know what the 5th Patriarch is talking about. Then you know what all the patriarchs are talking about. Questions or comments? This is very important. Yes, 9.
Ray has a follow-up question on the topic of fear and death. Fear of death. When I dipped my foot into the hot ginger water the other day, I had a feeling of strong fear of hurting my foot. The fear hit me so fast and so strong, I don't think I can rationalize it away by thinking that I may go to a better place after I die. How do I deal with such fear, Master? Thank you.
Okay, and this particular person, that fear there is particular to him. Okay, and so what I explained to him may not work for you. Okay, so for example, the other night, last night, I talked about someone who's afraid of the dark. And until you admit it to me, and this person admits it to me, then I will not be able to teach her how to do it. But what I teach her will not work for you. Okay, so be careful about these things. Now, this fear of death there is a natural reaction, and that's from being smart, being educated, and so forth. It's a matter of conditioning for a long, long time. So it's natural to be afraid. Okay, embrace it. Accept the fact that you're afraid. That's what you asked about. That's very good. Okay, and this fear here, in particular, for his case, is founded on this demon of depression that has a grip on him, and therefore he thinks he has a tendency in a particular moment to think that's a lot worse than it actually is. Okay, and so at this moment, it's much stronger than he is, and therefore it's not much that can be done. Okay, but the good news is that it only occurs occasionally. They reveal the hand by manifesting that way, meaning that eventually, as he progresses, he will be able to overcome that fear. Eventually, all right. So it's a matter of time. If you show your hands, that's when people will come up with an antidote. That's what you cannot see is what you are helpless against. They manifest this kind of fear here, a ridiculous kind of fear. Why would you fear sticking your foot in, some hot bath, whatever it is? I mean, geez, look around you, people are sticking their foot in. It doesn't make sense, you see? So, however, they're so strong that they reveal themselves. And that's all. When they reveal themselves, you will be able eventually to rise above it. That's all. I wouldn't worry about it. So, plug along, you get there. Nothing to worry about. All right? Anything else? See, each person is different. You will not. So that's why when I give you personal instructions, even if you share them with others, they probably cannot understand, and then you actually are doing more harm than good because they think that applies to them. So in particular, I need to remind all of you that when people come here and do the fasting, and other dharmas here, it's under supervision. I would not do these things at home because it's a lot more involved than you think. Okay. All right. So you see, this verse here, the patriarch, going back to slide 311, the 5th patriarch is asking his people, his students, to to write the verses, their verses, at the moment of their seeing the nature. And he says, in order, that very moment there is right at the moment of speaking, the moment of you trying to compose. And after that, okay, after you see your nature, this is great news to you. This is so Chinese. The way they explain things, it's so confusing. And that's why maybe it's a good thing that we decided to redo this, because when I first explained this thing 4 or 5 years ago, this sutra, the first part of the sutra, I decided I wasn't not confident, so I wouldn't stray away from Master YongHua's Chinese style of speaking. And now I find that, like even like this section here, when the William Saber in the midst of the battle, he also sees the nature. It means that after you see your nature, you always see your nature, no matter what you do, including wielding a saber in the midst of the battle of trying to kill someone. You still are doing it while seeing the nature. Isn't that cool? So once you have it, you always have it. Questions, comments? Isn't that cool? This is what it means. So you will never be apart from that seeing the nature. All right, 312 text. The assembly received this order and withdrew, saying to one another.
众得处分退，而地相谓曰：
得处, I don't understand. 得处. What does it mean? Chinese speaking people, help me out. 分对 I understand, but 得处 I don't understand. What does it mean? 得处. True's place. What does it have to do with order? Go ahead, Q&A.
I think this translation is pretty good. 处分 is just the order.
处分 is order.
Yeah, it's order.
So
okay.
I see.
Yeah,
it's my limitation, my Chinese. I combine the wrong words, the wrong Chinese characters. I think I understand Chinese. Sad. Why 处分 is an order?
It's kind of like from a high position person. They basically 处分 is like they decide things. Yeah.
They decide things?
处分 is like high ups kind of they make certain decisions, can be called 处分.
So it's 处分, the 处分 is from the 5th Patriarch, yes?
Yes.
Okay. 吩咐的分.
It's 吩咐的分 has an 口字 on the left side, but I think this. Yeah, I did not look up a dictionary, but it just sounds right.
Okay. Well, we have one Chinese person's opinion. Maybe others would like to chime in. Go ahead, 9. They can't make up their minds? Go ahead.
From Diego, when you see your nature, is it 1st stage Arhat or 4th stage Arhat?
No, that's enlightened. 4th stage Arhat are very far from seeing the nature. If you ask me, 4th stage Arhat is pretty damn stupid. All due respect. When it comes down to seeing nature, forces I have no clues because they're stupid. They have this stupidity they can't get rid of. They think they understand, they don't. That's why it's so dangerous. Partial knowledge is one of the most dangerous things in life. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so anyway, I don't get this. 313. We of the assembly do not need to clear our minds and use our intellect to compose a verse to submit the High Master. What benefit would there be in this?
我等众人不须诚心用意作记，将成和尚有何所益？
Commentary in 314. Okay, let me go back to 312. Okay, so the assembly, all his disciples who were there, the disciples as well as guests, as workers, whatever, whoever, they all received the order to write a verse, and that's for everyone. Okay, and so they heard the order and they walked away. Okay, they withdrew, and then they discussed it. Of course, they gossip and say, "What are we to do?" Okay, and so they say that there's no point in us to clear our mind. It's not clear our mind. 诚心 here, okay, 诚心 here is to 诚心 here I believe has to do with freezing our mind or overburden our mind more than clear our minds. Am I correct? The clear our mind doesn't make sense. It's not a good translation. He said basically, there's no point in racking our brains. It's way beyond us. So 诚心 here is like freezing our mind, working, exert our mind to the point of exertion, and so that it's frozen, we can't think anymore. Maybe along that line, or no? No? Go ahead, go first.
诚 really just literally means let the impurity in the liquid
Settle.
still at the bottom. Yeah, like it really means let the water still, let the impurity sink to the bottom.
I see. Okay. Okay, thank you. That helps. Okay. So he says, okay, clear our mind is okay, I guess. Okay. Okay. That helps. Okay. So he says we don't need to work hard. The work hard here basically is to meditate, and meditate is to clear their minds. Okay. So apparently the process is that they all seem to understand the processes for them. They're expected to go back and meditate, still the mind. Okay. So it should be more, probably better translation to still our mind. Okay. Instead of clearing our mind, still knowing to still our minds. Okay. And use our intellect to compose a verse to submit to the High Master. 用意做记. Okay. Okay. All right. So he says you need to still our mind. No need to meditate. Still our mind here refers to a form of meditation because they are a meditation temple. There are Chan practitioners, so they understand they're supposed to still the minds. Okay, and use the thinking mind to compose it, and so these are the people who felt basically didn't take the 5th Patriarch's instructions to heart. He says, don't use the intellect, don't think. But they said, even if after we meditate, we still end up using our intellect to compose a verse. Okay, so basically he said what he says, we do what we do. Okay, so what's the point? Because they basically told each other, well, no matter how long we meditate, okay, we end up using our brains anyway. So why bother? Okay. Next is more. 315. Senior seated Shengxiu is our instructor and teaching transmitter. He would surely obtain it. It would be arrogant for juniors like us to compose a verse, but it's a waste of effort as well.
神秀上座，现为教授师，必是他得。我辈慢作寄送，枉用心力。
All right. Furthermore, they say that senior seated, meaning Shengxiu, is actually the assistant teacher. He would organize classes. He would answer questions from the disciples, so that the disciples would not bother the 5th Patriarch. Okay, apparently it worked so far because when the assembly members of the assembly had problems, they came to Shengxiu and they came away happy with Shengxiu's answers. Okay, it's to me, and that's kind of weird. It's like kind of a bunch of sheeps at his temples. They had about over 1,000 cultivators, Chan cultivators, and the majority of them seem to think that Shengxiu is the most senior and substitute teacher. Okay, meaning that the master would teach Shengxiu and tell Shengxiu, I want you to go and talk about this. Okay, so the master, instead of speaking with them as a whole, okay, Shengxiu is was the one who was doing that. Okay, so they all realized that Master Shengxiu was a lot more knowledgeable, received a lot more teachings from Master Hongzhen than they did. Okay, because Shengxiu received direct transmissions from Master Hongzhen. Because they said, so therefore we're not qualified. We cannot be at the same level of Shengxiu. Okay, and it says, we cannot be arrogant because you are low levels to compose a verse as well as a waste of efforts. Okay. All right, 317. Those others who heard this all stopped their minds and said, henceforth, we just depend on Master Shengxiu. Why vex ourselves writing verses?
愚人闻语，总皆习心，坚言我等以后依止授师，何凡作记。
Okay, so 习心 is not stop the mind. Okay. Okay. Depend on. Okay. So as some of the people were discussing or talking about each other about why bother with Shengxiu, Master Shengxiu, much higher level than we are. He's received a lot of instruction, special instruction from the Patriarch anyway. So others who heard that kind of discussion stopped their minds. they all stop their minds. Xi xin, xi is xi to stop, right? To put to rest the mind. So they basically, they all who heard this, they agreed. And how do you translate it? You don't translate exactly. Stop the mind. How do I say? They stop worrying about it. They, Master Shen, how would you translate this? Yeah, stop the mind is Chinese, English. They relax and they say, well, what's the point? It's not even bother trying. Okay? Okay, anyway, let's work on that. Okay, I disagree with the translation "stop the mind." That's too Chinglish, if you will. Okay. We can use some suggestions. Feel free. Yes, Q&A.
Actually, I was going to comment on the early part. On this part that it just stands out to me that it seems the 5th Patriarch students don't follow their instructions. They directly violate his instructions.
Okay, I'm coming to that. And
then also, I think maybe rest their minds. I agree, stop their minds is not a good translation. Rest their minds.
Not rest their mind. There's not just such a thing as resting your mind.
Okay.
No, relaxed and stop even trying. Not quieted the mind either. They basically stop trying. See here, they stop any effort. All decided to stop trying. Okay, that's. If you cannot come up with a better translation, stick with that. All decided to stop trying. Decided not to bother trying. Okay? And said, henceforth, we'll just depend on Master Sheng Xiu. Okay? And why Vex was writing verses, and on the commentary slide 218, I explained that depend here is Yichi. Okay? Yichi. Okay? And that's a Chinese concept. Okay? So depend here, Yichi is to yi is to depend on, to stop, right? So why does it become depend only? Why was it only translated as depend and not stopping? Okay, this is the Chinese Chan. The Chinese thing, where here's what happens. You're among somewhere else. You have a master, let's say a master somewhere else. And then because of the Chinese system, they encourage monks and nuns to travel. After 5 years, every single left-form person who are been ordained for 5 years are encouraged, if you will, to go to different temples and seek instructions from the other monks and nuns. Okay, that's number one. And when they found someone who can depend on, that they like, okay, they can benefit from, they then would eat her. They stop there to rely on that particular teacher. Okay, so instead of continuing to wonder, to look for, they actually stop, to stop. And is that they stopped there and then they decided to rely on that particular sangha for the cultivation. Okay, that's how I would explain this. Okay, so in the so he says that's what the Chinese says. When you look at Chinese dictionary, you see. So yi zun. So you depend on that particular temple, particular monk to survive, to subsist, and to true. And they stop at that temple. They stop going. They don't continue looking anymore. Okay, until they change their minds. So this is called yi-chi, meaning that they're not disciples, not direct disciples. They are authorized to go to temples. It's a very, very liberal system. That is, you don't need to become a disciple. You can go yi-chi, meaning that you can go to any other temple to seek instructions, and you still are loyal to your own masters. Am I making sense? Okay, and there are different kinds of yi-chi, but that's there are 4 different kinds of yi-chi. Okay, of dependency, of reliance on a master to cultivate. Okay, let's see what they are. So there's something called countless good roots, dependency, countless wisdom, and then you have a purified countless afflictions, knowledge, instructions, okay. So and so you go there in order. Okay. Seriously. Okay. So the yi-chi here, the 4 kinds. Your 4 kinds. Number 1 is, first of all, is countless good roots, meaning that this person that you dwell has some good roots. Okay. Meaning, for example, you go to a temple where it's big. It has a lot of food, it's a lot of money, lots of support. Okay? And that's from their blessings, okay? From the abbot's blessings, from the teacher's blessing. Another type of yi-chi, okay, dependency, is you depend on the wisdom, okay? Wisdom here refers to that you believe this person, this abbot here, this person you depend on has wisdom, is enlightened, if you will. For Hinayana people, it's for Sejahat, because that's the end goal. For Maya and the Chan school, each of you for us is to go, you believe this person is enlightened. Okay? And therefore, what he teaches you is in accord with the Dharma. The Chinese is very sophisticated. Okay, we don't have that, and they actually lost it nowadays. Okay, and number 3, different kinds of yi-chi. So you see, the first one is okay, I'm tired of being poor. I'm tired of my clothes are tattered and no shoes and no food and cold and my temples are poor. So let's go rely on a person who has a lot more to offer, okay? In terms of comfort, in terms of cultivation facilities, okay? And the next one is countless wisdom. He said, it's a little bit better now. This person says, she says, I'm doing this in order to learn about wisdom. So let me stay here and depend on the wisdom of this particular monk and nun. Okay? Number 3 is a little bit better. Okay? That is, you realize you have cultivation is not about simply depending on the wisdom or the good roots, but you also need to purify your afflictions. Okay? And you hope that this particular monk and nun can give you instructions to do that. Okay? And the fourth one is you go there and depend on this particular way place in order to develop your spiritual penetrations and transformations. Okay, and so you have these goals. Okay, so of all these four types of dependencies, okay, number 3 is what the superior students, the superior sangha shoot for. This is very important. The monks and nuns, at all times, whether you're a monk, a nun, or a lay person, you should ask yourself this: what kind of dependency am I looking for? Okay, so when Master Shenhua, my late Chinese teacher, was available, I went to him for wisdom. I didn't know. To be honest with you, I didn't know. I just said, this is a wise person. Okay, I never cared for whatever facilities they have, but I said, this person has wisdom. Okay, so I can count on him. Okay, but unfortunately for me personally, he died very quickly, and so I became very afflicted with that, and the transformation and the spiritual penetration of his disciples didn't impress me at all. Okay, whatever they showed to me, very unimpressive. So I never was interested in that, I was never taught about number 3. That is, the reason you're there at a place is to purify your afflictions and your obstructions, which is the most difficult thing to do. The most important thing to do is to do this. Questions or comments? Why? Because if you depend on the material things and the support alone, then it's not necessarily beneficial for you. Your countless wisdom here is not necessarily helpful to you, because it's those people who have wisdom. They don't necessarily help you uncover wisdom. And your wisdom cannot come forth until you purify your afflictions and your knowledge obstructions. Okay, this is how you want to do the dependency, in cultivation. And you don't need to worry about number 4, because these will come naturally. Okay, number 4 should never be a goal. But actually, for some monks and nuns, they mistakenly take it as a goal because no one taught them. They didn't know any better. Okay? Questions or comments? This is important. This is why we're doing this. We're doing this in order to help you. It's not about me. What I have is what I have. None your business. Okay? What matters to you is to purify your countless afflictions and all its obstructions. Yes, 3.
Happy New Year, Master.
Happy New Year.
Everyone here in Korea, too. I have a question about the countless afflictions. Me personally, I have a really good memory. So, but that's memories of a lot of suffering. But does that add to more afflictions, having a better memory?
I don't get the question.
I have a really good memory, and I can remember things from back in the day. So does that make the my afflictions heavier because I can remember like more suffering in my life.
Okay, in other words, you can't let go of the suffering. So what's the point having a good memory in order to torture yourself? So all you have to do is, because these memories will keep on popping up in your mind, okay? All you have to do is what? What to do? What can he do? Nothing. Do nothing. They come up, if there's this recall here, do nothing at all. Just like watching a movie, just watch a movie and do nothing. All right? It's that simple. Okay, and then 320, they also can break it down. The dictionary, Buddhist dictionary broke it down into 5 kinds as well. They depend on things, material things. You depend on contemplations. You depend on the mind, and you depend on expedience, and you depend on the power. Okay, actually, when you practice, you depend on all 5, and not just one. You need material things in order to sustain your cultivation. How are you going to meditate on an empty stomach? Not very well. Okay? You depend on contemplations. This is part of your practice in order to open your wisdom. Okay? You need to contemplate. It's called vipassana, in order to open your wisdom. Meaning someone has to tell you the proper contemplation. You also need to depend on the mind. Okay? Mind here refers to what? The goodness of your heart. You depend on the goodness of your nature, of your heart. Okay? You depend on expedience. This has to do with the skills of the teacher. Meaning that if the teacher, maybe even though he's enlightened, but he's not skilled enough, then he cannot use expedience to teach you, to help you. Okay? It's very precise. And finally, number 5, depends on power. Power refers to the power of the teacher, because not only must he advise you, counsel you, also have to carry you on his shoulders. It's not simply talk. I have a hard time accepting the fact that the Chinese temples are closed during this pandemic. Because when you are suffering, when you're in need for help, you need for some comfort, a need for a break, your mind's going crazy, your fear is paralyzing you. Okay? The monks who have been receiving your donations, receiving your offerings all this time, that's when they must make themselves available to you. This is the time that counts. That when you need help, they must have the power to help you. Okay? It's a matter of personal reflection. You look at yourself, say, we've been receiving, your support, your aid, your rice, and your baozi, okay, your dumplings, when in good times. But when there is a pandemic, we say, we monks and nuns say, stay away from us. Don't bring us your diseases. Don't bring us your suffering. Okay? I have a problem with that. I hope you children will not, when the level people here, will not be like that. Okay? And the only way you cannot be like that is you have enough power, you have the capacity to defend yourself and not be afraid of death. You see? So you see how the issue here is complete. You depend on all these 5 things here. These are the requirements for a good no advisor. I'm sorry, I may be offensive to some of the monks and nuns, but we are new in the West. In the 21st century, we need to spell these things out clearly so that the standards are there. It's always been there. It's just that my generation, I'm not impressed. And if we don't raise our standards, we'll never be able to catch up with the Chinese and the Indians. We're basically like a Me Too. Okay? We are laggards. Indians are thousands of years ahead of us. The Chinese are a couple of thousand years ahead of us. We basically are less than 100 years. How on earth are we going to catch up? We don't even measure up to their standards. Yes, 3.
Master, what was that word, expedience? Because I keep seeing the word, but what does it mean in Buddhist terms?
Expedience means that you use skill and means. It's not what it seems. Okay? For example, the lie to you actually is not a lie. Okay? So that's called expedience. You use a different skill and means, expedience, in order to help living beings. Does it help? No. It's just that you just do things that are called for or necessary in order to reach the other person. For example, the kids, the young people like to play. So your experience might be to join them and play with them until you get closer to them, and then they start confiding in you, and then you can help them. But until you can get close to them, you can't help them. So it's called experience. You pretend that we enjoy playing, okay? Enjoy drinking, enjoy doing silly things that cultivators, the true Hinayana cultivator, would frown on that. Okay? And there's people who stay in the mountain and valleys or behind the 4 walls, they frown. That's not cultivation. It's true. It's not cultivation for yourself, but it's cultivation with the others. Different standards. So skill means it refers to the Mahayana Bodhisattva skill set that is necessary for us in our work. Any other questions? Okay. Now, go back to this thing here. The comment made earlier, he says, these people, they stopped. They didn't even bother trying. Why not? It's because of the way the Master 5th Patriarch structured his teachings. He basically says, the whole bunch of you, too low level. And I don't have time to deal with 1,000 of you. Okay? So what I'm going to do is that I will teach Sheng Qiu, my second in command. I will have him teach you. So much more efficient for me, because Sheng Qiu has higher level than you. So he is perfectly capable of understanding my instruction and relate my instructions to you. Okay? Remember, this is the early days of Mahayana propagation, the Chan school. So to be honest with you, these people didn't know what they were doing. Even though he's a patriarch, the 5th patriarch, but he still didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. And he has his hands 1,000 people. He has to worry about the food. He has to worry about, about all sorts of issues, clothing, keeping them warm, sheltering them from rain and weather and so forth. There's so many issues, okay? And so being an abbot of the temple, he needs to worry about all those issues, okay? And so that's how he decided to structure how he would instruct them. Okay, and it's understandable. Too many people, it's just chaotic if you don't have some sort of chain of command, some sort of hierarchy. Okay, it's not until later Master Bai Chang, another Chan master, very very big one, decided to teach us how to organize a Chan monastery. Okay. Compartmentalize them so that they are able to carry out all the necessary functions in the temple to handle the large crowds. So here at 1,000 disciples or so, Master 5th Patriarch Hongzhen was overwhelmed already. So he chopped them up like that. He says, okay, basically I have one line, I and then Sheng Xiu, and then Sheng Xiu will take care of everything. So to me, this is why he's a problem. This is not Mahayana, this is not Chan teaching at all, because Sheng Xiu gets the instruction from Master Hongzhen, but Sheng Xiu is not enlightened. How on earth is he going to be able to understand what Master Hongzhen means? So basically, by depending on Sheng Xiu, okay, I feel that the 5th Patriarch failed his disciples. Patriarchs are not perfect. They're trying, they're doing their best. In a particular case here, from my American standards, okay, where I come from, the way our society, our culture works in the 21st century, this is a failure. This is not how you should do things. Because these people are devoting their lives to this lofty pursuit. You got to give them more than this. And because of that failure, later he got the 6th Patriarch in trouble because these people were not trained properly. Sheng Xiu didn't do a good job training the 1,000 followers, and that's bound to happen. Sheng Xiu had no wisdom whatsoever. In my mind, too low a level, too intellectual. And I would not even allow, Sheng Xiu to teach people, because he's teaching them with his intellect. It's a waste of time. Okay? And the only excuse I can think of, because we weren't there and we don't have enough historical data to make a definite judgment, but maybe that Master Hongzhen was overwhelmed with a lot of issues. So survival, existential issues such as how am I going to pay for all these expenses? 1,000 people have their problems with their health, with their teeth, with their minds. Some of them are crazy, clearly. Okay, how I'm going to address them all? Okay, plus expenses, food. Every day to feed 1,000 people is very expensive. So I can see why, and maybe those are the overwhelming reasons why he had to tell Sheng Xiu to do that. But because maybe in the early days of the Mahayana, they didn't have enough support. Okay, if that's the case, then that's fine. But I feel that if you take on people who come to depend on you for all these things, you fail them. He failed them in that sense. They devoted their lives to do this, to pursue this enlightenment thing, and he basically didn't give them instructions at all. And later it will be clearer as well, okay? How he taught the 6th Patriarch. Okay, let's continue. Okay, now we're back to slide 321. Text, Sheng Xiu taught. The others are not submitting verses because I am their teaching transmitter. I must compose a verse and submit it to the High Master.
神秀思维，诸人不成记者，唯我与他为教授师，我须作记，将成和尚。
Okay, 322. If I do not submit a verse, how will the High Master know whether the views and understanding my mind are deep or shallow?
若不成记，和尚如何知我心中见解深浅？
Okay, so now we go back to Sheng Xiu. So basically the whole temple, it says, we're not going to bother. Master Sheng Xiu is way above us, way better than us. Okay, and therefore, let's let Master Sheng Xiu do it. Okay, and Sheng Xiu was aware of it. Okay, and this again, I remind you that because of the nature of the cultivation, you may be ahead of someone, okay? But in a split second, they can surpass you. No one is safe. No lead is safe with the sudden teaching. And that's why the instructions are always tailored to the individuals. And therefore, again, I stress my point, Sheng Xiu is in no position to teach those individuals. So Master Hongren did them a disservice. Okay? I'm disappointed with this patriarch, the 5th patriarch, if you ask me. Maybe that's why Master Wei Neng has to come and fix the problem without really much help from Master Hongren. All right? So now Sheng Xiu, Su Wei, he reflected. He says, well, look at these people are not doing anything but compose the verses. So now it's up to me. Okay? I am their teaching transmitter, meaning that, Shou Shu, meaning that the teaching, the 5th patriarch, remember, this is why I'm very disappointed. The 5th patriarch basically says, I want you to teach them this. Okay, that's why he's called Sheng Xiu, is called teaching transmitter. So basically, the 5th patriarch says, today we talk about the 6 paramitas. Okay, the giving paramita. So I like you to prepare and talk to them about the 6 paramitas. So basically, the teaching here is theory, books. Okay, and maybe back then, I wouldn't be surprised if back then the Chinese being very polite in the culture, that when Sheng Xiu taught about these things, give them those instructions, they weren't insolent enough, irreverent enough, like here in our times, where people ask, why? Why do I have to eat you? Why do I have to bow to you? Here people ask this type of question. Back then they didn't dare. Okay, because it's considered improper, culturally speaking. So anyway, so he basically relayed. Transmit here is to relay the teaching. Okay, he didn't add much because he simply transmitted, like the telegraph, the old telegraph back then. You just transmit the message. You don't add anything. You don't subtract anything. So What is he doing? He's just like a mouthpiece. I find it weird. All due respect, if I were there, I would have left her. I would not eat her. The 5th Patriarch said, no, it's not for me. Okay? You don't take care of yourself. You don't have proper standards. You deserve what you get. If you behave like a sheep, that's all you get. Instructions for sheeps. Okay? This is America, not China. And so I am the teaching transmitter, and therefore I must, now I have no choice, I must compose a verse and submit it to the High Master. He says, okay, I have no choice. Okay. So what does it tell you right off the bat? He's calculating. He's calculating. He says, let me see, I can't get out of this. What else can I do? I have no choice. Let's compose a verse. He starts the process by calculating. Have you noticed that? The 5th Patriarch should call him, stop calculating. I'm gonna slap you, slap your face. I told you to stop calculating, stop thinking. What are you doing? And I've been transmitting things to you. I've been teaching you, and you keep. But that's too American, isn't it? Chinese people don't do that. They're polite. They are, they're proper. And that's why they got away with it. We in America cannot stand for this, right? 322. If I do not submit a verse, how will the Master know whether the views in his mind are deep or shallow? See, now he's convincing himself. He first evaluates and says, let me see what's the best course of action. Therefore, I should compose a verse because it's beneficial to me. And if you start your project, your task with thinking and calculating, you lost already. You go against his instructions already. All right? See? Deep or shallow? Who cares? It's deep or shallow. Too Chinese. Okay? All right, 324. If my intention in submitting the verse is to seek the Dharma, that is good. But if it is to seek the patriarchy, that is bad. For how would that be different from the line of a common person coveting the holy position?
我诚记义，求法极善，密阻极恶，却同凡心夺其圣位惜别。
Okay, he's tormented. Okay, he's very tormented and he's under pressure, to perform. Okay, so let's look at his thinking here, his rationale here, and let's delve into this, the minds of this senior-seated Chinese monk back then, that so close to patriarchy, and yet so far away. Okay, so he says, I'm going to compose a verse, have no choice. However, I need to be careful. If I compose this verse in order to seek the Dharma, that is good. What is to seek the Dharma? Yes, 3.
Master, to encounter the wisdom.
Encounter the wisdom. More specifically, what does seeking the Dharma means? Come on, come on. You're Americans, you're not Chinese. Don't think like a Chinese. We don't have to think like Chinese. Or Koreans, you're in America. You're joining an American assembly, wherever you are online. Put your mind into American thinking mode. Stop being so Vietnamese, so Canadian, so, think American for a change. Yeah? What does it mean, seek the Dharma? Yes, 8.
Master, does it mean that he wanted to become enlightened?
He wants to become enlightened. Yes or no? Anyone else? Huh? What does it mean, seek the Dharma? See, I ask you these things because the Chinese speak like this and they don't even know. There's some Chinese right now and some Koreans right now where the Koreans translated this into their own language. And Vietnamese translated into their own languages as well. Master Shen has a plenty of Vietnamese disciples who've been translating like crazy about this thing, okay, about this Dharma here. Okay, so explain to me, what is seeking a Dharma in your own language? Yes, 9.
From Peter, seeking the Dharma is looking for someone who speaks it. From Kenix, it means seeking for instructions.
Excellent. Seek Dharma here is seek instructions. Yeah, 7.
Theo con nghĩ là trầu pháp tức là mình trình cái kiến giải mình để ông thầy ở trên ông xác nhận là mình như thế nào rồi, chứ không phải để mà đưa cái đó lên để cầu pháp, để cầu làm tổ. Mình chỉ đưa lên là bây giờ ông thầy ông thấy mình như thế nào, không có nghĩ là mình đưa cái này lên để mình tranh cái chức tổ.
Master, I think like seeking the Dharma here is mean that he wants to show the master to see like how he understand, and then he did not mean to seek for to become a patriarch.
No, seeking Dharma here, as was said earlier, means that to seek instructions from the 5th Patriarch. Whatever you do, 5th Patriarch says, that's wrong. That's seeking a Dharma. Or the 5th Patriarch says, that's stupid. That's seeking a Dharma. Or that's good. That's seeking a Dharma as well. So it's seeking instructions from the 5th Patriarch. Okay? So if I submit these verses in order to get some instructions, a commentary, a comment from the 5th Patriarch, that is good. Okay? But if my motives to compose this verse is to seek to become a patriarch, that is bad. Okay? Because it's no different from the mind of a common person coveting the holy position. Okay? Now, remember, this is what's going on in Sheng Xiu's mind, this Chinese person's mind, second in command in the 5th Patriarch's monastery, Chan monastery. Isn't it sad? Don't you feel the 5th Patriarch? What the heck have you been doing your entire life with your students? Your second in command, the one you depend on to transmit the teaching to your followers, to your disciples, to your Ichi people. He says, what he's been teaching me all these days, all these years, still not enough. Okay? Meaning that I've been coming to his room and he's been giving me instructions. He's still not giving me enough instructions to help me. You have to read this. It is so sad to me when I read this and say, oh my God, what are you doing there? Shen Xiu, get the hell out of there, man. You see him every day, every week, because every week he has to tell, this is today's topic. I have this plan for this curriculum for this year. Is like you go to college or school, you have this curriculum. You're supposed to teach them year after year after year. Okay, it's no different from going to college where the instructors come in and teach you all these things. And under the plans of Master Hongren's plan, he says, I have this curriculum, 4-year curriculum, 10-year curriculum. You have to teach them all these things to keep them busy. So he's been seeing him every week, okay? And he still needs to submit a verse. You see my problem? You see me every day, and yet you decide to wait after 10 years, 20 years, I need to compose a verse. Why can't you tell me 10 years ago? Why can't you tell me last month? Huh? Why can't you give me instructions? In 2021, instead of waiting for me on New Year's Day and then tell me that you need to compose a verse so that I can seek your instructions. See how sad it is? I, as an American, quasi-American, I refuse to identify with myself as totally American. I'm disappointed. Any problems? Am I the only one? You guys are like sheep. Oh, if the 5th Patriarch says so, it should be okay. He's a patriarch. I don't care. You patriarch. You're not patriarch. I don't care. You patriarch, I'm glad for you. But what does it do for me? By the way, since it's New Year's Day, can I ask you a question? Kind of a little bit related to this, but not exactly. I thought about it when I was meditating today and said, every weekend I said, oh God, what am I going to tell them today? Please, Lord, help me out. Inspire me. Show me the way. Okay? So I thought this one thing. I said, suppose Master YongHua shows up. Should I continue? Or you say, no, it's nonsense. Huh? You want me to continue? What if Master YongHua shows up? Like in the TV shows, where they kill someone off, okay? And then it goes on, the TV shows goes on for 2-3 years, and the 3rd year they said, you know what, the last 2 years has been a dream. Actually, he's still alive. So they brought the person back. You know what I mean? You guys don't watch TV? Oh, God, you're so boring. How can you live like this? And still not enlightened. If you're enlightened, I have no problem. Don't watch TV, you don't do anything. But you're not enlightened and you don't watch TV, you don't watch football, you don't gamble, you do those things. Why? Okay, anyway. So suppose tomorrow at lunch in our dining hall, Master Shen shows up and says, hey, boys and girls, how have you been? Wouldn't that be cool? Second of the year. I mean, we barely got started in New Year. So he shows up and says, hey, I'm here. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? Concubine, I know your answer. Just say it. What would you do? No thinking, no evaluating. Your thinking mind is of no use. What would you do? Quickly, quickly, don't think.
잘 모르겠습니다. I don't know.
You have to think. See, you force her not to think. Say, I don't know. Yes, 8.
Master, I actually have a dream of him, so in my dream I would make offering to him and then run away.
And then what?
And then I'll run away.
You run away?
Yes. Master taught.
Why run away?
Master taught us do not seek, just make offering then run away.
Did I tell specifically say make an offering to Master Shoa and then run away?
Master say don't seek for anything.
Okay, hopeless. Anyone else? What would you do? Hey, Chinese people, what would you do? Korean people, I like to go by nationalities. The Vietnamese failed me already. And now let's leave it to the Caucasians. Number 3, what would you do, huh? Number 3.
I'd ask Great Master Shenhua, what do I need to do to progress?
What do I need to do to progress? So let's continue. 9.
Derek said, I would treat him the same as everyone else there. Peter said, if Great Master Shenhua shows up, then I am going to battle him in person, not just to his picture. Pingdeng Qingjing Daniel says, to offer Master Shenhua kimchi.
Okay, his disciple in the back, the spy number 1. What would you do?
Mô Phật gặp thầy để hello gì thôi à.
Hello?
Hello. Rồi. Yeah.
Have you been? At least, have you been? Would you like some food? You know, he says, hello. Hello. What about your manners? What happened to your manners? Okay, anyone else? Huh? Hello. What would you do? Koreans, one says, I don't know. The other, what would you do? Tomorrow, whether he shows up or not depends on your answer tonight. Huh? What would you do? Okay, let me fill you in a little bit. You guys are having no fun. You're not biting. It's so boring. I have to do everything here. It's so sad. So let's say this is what happens. When you see a monk coming, okay, you say, oh, hi, Master, how are you? Where are you from, and would you like to eat? Huh? That's what people say typically when a monk comes to your temple. Okay. Hi, how are you? Okay, where did you come from? And would you like to eat lunch with us? That's common courtesy. What is the matter with you? Mexico, people don't do that? What? I don't get it. Koreans, oops, I'm in America. No, I'm asking you as Koreans. Okay, Americans, we don't give a damn. I mean, hey man, what's happening? Okay, no. Here is a protocol. When you see a monk, you say, hi, how are you? You bow to them, hi, how are you? And where do you come from? And would you like to join us for lunch? Yes? Okay? So far, so good. There's a certain protocol. Chinese people, pay attention. Don't forget your Chinese manners, okay? You, Korean manners. What happened to you? The Koreans are like, I don't know. There's no point answering because Master will give us the answer anyway. When someone says, I'm fasting, I can't think. God. Yeah. Okay, so we ask him, we say, I went up the mountain, meditated for, 20 years. I miss you, so I'm coming back. I'm back here. So, how wonderful, okay? And so then the next thing we ask, where are you staying? He says, well, Hyatt Regency. I mean, just kidding. Oh, God. Yeah. So he says, at one of my temples in Long Beach. Okay, see, small conversation. It's not like, oh, Master, can I make you an offering? So I can run away. What? And they say, whose disciple are you? Is that he's been teaching you? Directly? Okay. It's not working out for you, is it? So anyway, so he said, I'm staying at Long Beach, Long Beach, my temple there in Long Beach near the ocean. Okay? So far, so good? Okay? Then what do? With all the information, what are you going to do? I'm asking you. Go ahead, internet people, when you save. I can't see your face. What are you going to do? Now he's staying at in Long Beach, where in one of his temples, and he's going to stick around and so forth. What are you going to do? Francis, the trader. She's laughing. You can tell it's nothing good she has to say. Yeah. She looks at, she's embarrassing, but I need to tell you the truth. Yes, go ahead.
I was asked, why are you here?
This person who will never make it to second stage Arhat because she always doubts everyone. Are you really Master YongHua? Master YongHua says so, but I'm not so sure. And why are you here again? You want my social security number and my bank account number? Oh God, why are you here? Oh, anyone else? I'm here to stay, he says. I'm here to stay. I'm staying here. I miss you, and I'm. I've been watching what's happening to my temples the last 20 years. I said, I have to come back. So I'm here. Okay? Yes, Q&A.
Hello, Master. I will ask Grandmaster, can I go with you, please?
That's what I was afraid of. 8.
Master, I'll ask him if he need a ride.
He needs a ride. I said, can I give you a ride? Yes? Okay, very good. Anyone else? What would you do? 9.
BT Ninja said, I would ask the Master if he or she would like to stay with us. Derek Chen said, asked if I can visit him at Long Beach once in a while.
That's it? That's all the things people have been able to come up with after all, every single night, the last 2 months that I've been teaching you. And this is all you come up with? No wisdom has ever unfolded at all? Huh? Yes, Q&A.
Sorry, Master. I hope I'm not a traitor. But I will ask him for instructions.
Ask for instructions. Okay, can't call you a traitor for asking for instructions. Go eat you. It's perfectly okay to ask for instructions. Cordelia, what would you do? She just got off work. She said, can I just spectate? Relax a little? No, you're on the spot.
I'll just bow to him, offer him tea.
Just bow to him.
And offer him tea.
Offer tea. Okay, very, very good. Very good manners. Okay. How about Dewey? What would you do? Huh? What would you do? Along, what would you do? Yes, 6.
Master, I will just relax knowing that he's here.
Now I have donut. Now I have to behave myself. Yes. It's finally someone that Master YongHua is afraid of. Okay. He's running wild and unchecked the last, 15 years. Yes. Okay. Yes, 9.
Peter said, I would tell Great Master Shen thank you for telling Master YongHua he should teach because I've learned a lot from him.
Always the proper thing to say, but with lack of sincerity, as always. The Americans, they're so smart. They always know what's the right thing to say, but without meaning it. Okay, Koreans, come on, tell me something. You must be thirsty. You say, oh my God, now the real teacher showed up. What are you going to do? Yes, 4.
Master, assuming Master YongHua knows that all the things that's happening currently.
He does.
Okay. So in that case, I would ask the Great Master, what are the things that we can improve to make things better for us and make us enlightened quicker?
Because Master YongHua is too slow. I got you. That's how you feel. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, 3.
Master, I think his spirit's here anyway. You just can't see him because, especially when I bow to the altar in there, I feel like this purified kind of feeling all the time.
But you're not sure, are you?
Yeah, I'm sure about the way I feel. I just can't prove it,
Okay, fine. But he'll be staying in Long Beach. What are you going to do? Yes, the old monk. 7.
Thì con quà với mọi người là chào kính trọng Ngài thôi, còn không có cầu cái gì hết. Khi nào Ngài cần Ngài dạy thì kêu dạy, không dạy thì thôi, chứ không có cần cái gì hết. Mà rất là kính trọng và cảm ơn Ngài tới thì thôi. Thì đại chúng làm sao mình làm vậy. Rồi khi nào cần Ngài dạy mình kêu Ngài dạy, không thì thôi. Đúng lúc thì Ngài dạy. Chứ bây giờ không có mong cầu chen chút, bon chen lên rồi thì dạy con đi cúng dường gì. Người ta làm sao mình làm vậy, nhưng mà trong lòng vẫn rất tôn kính. Và rất cứ tu sao thì cứ vậy, khi nào cần thiết đúng lúc thì Ngài dạy, còn không có thì thôi.
5.
5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5
Master, I think I will follow the assembly. Whatever people do, I will follow them. And then I agree that I'll just greeting him and thanks him for coming. But I will not seek anything. I will not ask for instruction or whatever, because he basically knows. And then whenever I need to instruct me, and then he will teach me. Otherwise, I won't ask for anything. I will continue to practice to do whatever I need to do. And then when it's proper time comes, he will give us instruction.
Anyone else? Yes, 9.
Emily said, I would bow to him and can't help but to think if he's here to chop our heads off. Joseph said, I would also ask the master if he would like gelato.
Gelato.
Derek said, ask if he can be our good knowing advisor.
Ask him to be a good advisor. Very good. Anyone else? Very good. Yes, concubine.
왜 오셨는지 뭘 하고 싶으신지 물을 것 같아요.
Don't translate. I translate for you. Sangwok Sunim. She says, I will ask Master YongHua for my friend's soaps back and bring the Master Shen because he doesn't bathe anyway. And Master Shen probably needs to bathe after 20 years of eating the mountain. How far off am I, my Venerable Sangwok?
I would like to ask why he came here.
Don't do that. You can offend us, but you should not offend Master Shen. Why are you here? You need money? You need soap? I know what you need soap. God. If he comes back tomorrow, everyone, okay? Restrain concubine. Do not let her come near him. We're going to be all in trouble. Why are you here? Oh my God! Scary woman. Yes, Francis.
But joking aside, I would bow to him.
That goes without saying. He shows up. I know the whole lunch hall will be. And only Francis is the only one who stands up there. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Now I know why the 5th Patriarch refused to teach his disciples. Let Shen handle all those losers and sheeps. You know what I would do? You see, you're so polite. I'm waiting for someone to ask me back. What would you do? But no one asked me. Yes, 3.
Master, what would you do?
So American, no manners. Of course, I would like all of you to bow to him because I'm the one who asked, where did you come from? Did you have lunch? And let's have lunch with us, please. My seat, and so forth. And then, of course, okay, I would bow like all of you. I bow to him, okay. And he says, I'm at I'm staying in Long Beach at my temple there in Long Beach. I say, which one? He said, you have 3 properties in Long Beach. Which one are you staying at? He says, well, that one right there. And okay. Oh, I know that one. Yeah. Okay. And then what will I do? Would you like to know? I would tell you sayonara. I'm out of here, boys and girls. Good luck. You can have everything. Follow the old monk who seeks nothing. Okay, who stays here in the temple. Continue your chanchi. Okay? Later. Yes, one.
Mô Phật và thầy mô Phật gặp ngài phải cẩn thận đó. Bạn con đó ở Kim Lưng đó, ngài tới đó, cái ai nào cũng lấy lì xì lên để cúng dường cho ngài hết á. Cái cô kia bạn tôi cổ xuống có học cho tôi nghe đó, đưa cái lì xì nó là ngài nhìn cổ đó, tâm cô là giả tạo. Nói gì đó phải cẩn thận, gặp ngài cũng phải rất là cẩn thận chứ không phải là nói cái gì là ngài chấp nhận đâu. Biết bao nhiêu người lên để cúng lì xì cho đó. Cái chị này bạn chị học sinh nghe xuống nói thầy nói gì đó, tâm giả tạo. Ngộ Phật rồi chứ gặp ngài cũng là hello được rồi.
Hello.
So, the fact that we met Master YongHua, we have to be very careful because I remember back then at Goguil Monastery when everybody saw Great Master, and then they all rushed to give him the red envelope. And then my friend told me the story, like she gave him the red envelope and then he stared at her and say, your mind is so faking. So he knows everything. So, like whenever you meet him, be careful. For me, saying hello is enough.
Okay, very good. So you see my point? My point is that I would say goodbye to all of you. Okay, and say, why? I said, well, the old monk is here. You're all here. Just carry on. I'm busy. I have better things to do in my life than waste my life with you. Why? Because I know when I go over there, I see Tuan right there, the trader Tuan. Because Tuan says it before any of you, he says, I be right over there. I say, I agree. That's why I had to say goodbye to all of you first. I have more manners than that. And then I go over there and, okay, but why? Because this is Chan. Chan is to seek a good knowing advisor's instructions. So if you know that there's a good knowing advisor, you go over there. You don't sit over here and wait for him to call you. Do you understand? Tuan is right. When you see a great teacher, I told you, we all know Master YongHua is much better than I am. I established that for 15 years already. Okay? Now you know he's alive. I would definitely go over there. Myself, personally, I would go there. Let him turn me away. He says, don't you dare go back and do your thing. It's different. But the first thing I would do is to go over there. First thing. If I know where he's at, I'll go over there. Okay? And patiently wait until he calls for me. You understand? That's Chan. Our duties are to go draw near a good knowing advisor. That's Chan. If you do that, no one can fault you. And I can do that because the old monk who's staying here, he said, yeah, I stay here and I will, I'll continue to do what I've been doing. Okay? That's what enables me to go. Questions or comments? Yes, Martina. 6.
You know, Master, when you said that, well, I don't know, but okay, so everything appeared so light, bright, light, like it was so bright. So it was just amazing for you to say that. Mm-hmm. I know later on maybe it will come what it is.
It might show up tomorrow.
I guess he showed up at that moment, Master.
Okay. Very good. Okay. And then I fall, I go over to him. And then what happens? COVID-19. And then, this is very Mahayana, let me tell you. And of course, in my heart, I cannot simply walk away like Tuan would. Okay? I can't do that. I know I'm going to go over there. Okay? I say sayonara. Okay? And and Tuan and Xian Tong would ask me. He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Long Beach." And Xian Tong said, "Why? What happened to the kitchen?" Master, we're running out of kimchi soon. What are we going to do now? Yeah. So Xian Tong is the one who said, "What about me?" Right? No? Oh, you say, "Oh, finally, I'm in charge of the kitchen. No one can tell me anything anymore." What about me? You're deserting us. What about me? What about us? And I tell you, let's go together. It's not a moment to waste. You understand? That's called seeking and drawing near a good knowing advisor. What are you waiting for? For this? You understand? That's Chan. That's pure Chan. I want you to understand that mindset. That's Chan right there. The Chan practice is that way. Okay, is that clear? Let's go together and finally, okay, you all should take refuge with Master Shenhua is my last instruction. That's practice under him. Don't practice under me, practice under him. Don't waste your time. Understand? Is it clear? Monks and nuns, do you understand? We're doing this for them, not for us. All right, going back to slide 324. You see, so look at this Sheng Xiu here. It says, I am doing this not to seek instruction from the master. I'm not, but I'm not sure if in the back of my mind, actually I do it because I want to become the next patriarch. That's no good. He's deliberating with himself. Isn't it sad? He should know by now. I mean, why is he talking like this? Shouldn't he know? This guy's not even honest to himself. What is the matter with this guy? You've been with Master Hung Ren for all this time, and he's not even sure he's seeking a patriarchy or getting instructions. What is wrong with this guy? He's a real loser, isn't he? He's still not sure. He's deliberating. Because if I seek to be the next patriarch, oh, that's pretty bad. So how are we different from the mind of an ordinary person coveting the holy position? Did you notice? Huh? He used two words that's horrible. Okay? Covet. He says, in my mind, I'm not sure if deep part of my mind, whether I'm coveting this position or not. That's sad. You cultivating, you practicing meditation, you still don't even know you want it or not, you covet this position or not. You're crazy. It's not real. This guy is not real. It's not for real. Okay? I have a problem with this. He's not even sure he's coveted a position. And what position? Holy position. Holy moly. Rocky. What happened to all the Caucasian people? Huh? You know what I'm talking about? Holy moly Rocky? All the white people. Peter, what is holy moly Rocky? Help us out. Okay, so he says he compare himself. He says, am I like a ordinary person coveting, the patriarch? I'm just like the people I've been teaching and wishing to be a patriarch, and because this is holy position. Would you give a person, name a person, next patriarch, he thinks that this position is holy? I would not even give him a chance. He's still discriminating. This position is holy. It's sad. That's a 5th Patriarch temple. That's all they have, losers. Okay, so let me finish this next 2 slides and we stop tonight. Okay? 326. But if I do not submit a verse, in the end I will not allow continuation of the Dharma. This is great difficulty indeed.
若不成绩，终不弃法，大难大难。
So he says, and then I need to submit the verse, because if I do not submit a verse, okay, then I will not allow this Dharma to continue, okay? So meaning here, he basically feels that he's the most qualified anyway, so might submit a verse. After all this deliberation, he says, to be truthful, in my estimate of all the people I see here in this temple, okay, I'm the most qualified. So I should submit a verse. No one else will dare submit a verse. I will be probably the only verse that's being submitted. so that the Dharma continues, so that I can continue teaching them and take over this temple. Okay? So this is a mindset of a monk who's been in that position for a long time, and that's why he's thinking, he's calculating, he's coveting all these years, prepare him for this, to present him that way. Hey, what's holy moly Rocky? You don't know either? Yes, 9.
From Peter, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
I really want to know this. I don't know what it has to do with Buddhism. But Rocky and Bullwinkle was kind of a cult TV animated series that was on in the 60s, I guess it was. And it was real renowned to having, it was just kind of off the wall and cultish. People would crack jokes about it. And that was back in the day, I think, when T-shirts started, with the picture of Rocky or Bullwinkle. And they had Russian characters, Natasha and Boris, and they spoke in a dumb Russian accent and acted like they were spies trying to take over America and everybody like that.
I resent that. What do you mean? What it has to do with Buddhism? It has everything to do with Buddhism. What do you mean? It's a part of American culture. Okay, so anyway, in conclusion, at this point here, Master Shen says, I submit a verse because I'm going to be next patriarch. I have to. Okay? Because no one else will. I'm the most qualified regardless. Okay? Yeah. And that's what happens to people calculating mind. And he calculates and calculates all these years. Okay? So I conclude, in conclusion, what's the difference in his training versus our training? No seeking. He's seeking to be the next patriarch all these years. And the 5th patriarch should have told him, no, don't do that, boy. You'll not make it. You won't make it. So instead of cautioning him and awakening Shen Xiu, 5th patriarch used him, basically. It's sad to me, It is sad. I mean, for a patriarch to do that, to me, is unacceptable. Yes, 3.
Wasn't he giving him slack so he could hang himself?
Yeah. But it's you can't use someone like that for a long time. Knowing full well he's coveting your position, and you really are not doing anything every day, every week to help him overcome that. Okay? And this is what people out there do, in the real world do. They, in corporations, in companies, in society, this is what people do. They use others, that's all. What's the difference here? He never taught Shen Xiu properly. To me, it's sad. I feel for Shen Xiu. I have nothing against Shen Xiu, I just feel for him. It's sad. How can a Buddhist patriarch do this to his own devoted follower? He may have a lot of faults, may have a lot of problems, but you must tell them. Okay? You can run away, you can disagree with me, but I need to tell you what I know. It's a sad part of Chinese history, let me tell you. Thank you, everyone.